So this is Francis Watthanaya, and we're here in Buriram at the Giatbundit gym. All right, so Francis, can you just start talking about how you ended up in Thailand and in the first time that you came?
I started training Muay Thai when I was 14 at Pride Gym in Trail, BC. Where I grew up, there was a lot of skiing and a lot of hockey, and I wasn't really interested in them, and they're very expensive sports, so my family wasn't really able to afford them. And I just walked into this Muay Thai gym and fell in love with it after watching Rocky and a little bit of WWE as well too. And from there, I had, I think about 15 amateur fights, high level, no shin guards, fought all over North America. I did really well with it. And I was actually given a scholarship by Master Suchat of Siam #1. He gave me a scholarship to live and train at his gym in Chiang Mai. And when I was 19, I packed my bags, one-way ticket, came to Thailand. And I ended up at this Bangkok street gym that's affiliated with Watthanaya. And I just never left. And that's where I met Boom as well too. So I started fighting with that gym. I fought a lot. I fought for Wong Song Chai. I fought for his daughter. I fought under underpasses. They kept me really, really busy as a fighter in Bangkok, so I was really lucky. And then Boom was kind of, I think burned out was the best word. His mom was quite sick and his family needed help on the farm. So we moved to Isaan to help his family. And when I got here, I think I fought second day I was here, 6 times that month after that, and they kept me pretty busy. I had some really big fights here. I beat the champion of Isaan in a big side bet, meaning that she was prepared for the fight, I was prepared for the fight, so there's not really any excuses. And I had some big fights out here, and I just kind of realized that as much as I loved being in Thailand, Boom and I need to focus on our education. If he does want to come to Canada, it's better to focus on it now. So we started the process to apply for him to come to Canada, and he was awarded permanent residence, which is like a green card. And I went to school, I got pregnant, we had my daughter, and when we were in Canada, I didn't fight. Boom had a few fights in North America. We trained, but mainly just working really hard, sending money home to Boom's family. I was in school, we had my daughter, but we were still very, very involved in Muay Thai. We always go back to Pride Gym whenever we visit my family and train there, and we worked at Kai Sing Tong in Vancouver with Master Song. We trained fighters, like I said, Boom had a few fights. Just really involved in the community when we were in Vancouver, and I finished my school, I graduated, and Boom and I just made the decision to come back to Thailand. It was, being in Vancouver, it's rated the most expensive city to live in North America, and we have great friends there that we're very close to, and they're like our family, but it was just really hard living somewhere where we just felt there was no future because the cost of living was through the roof, the high stress lifestyle. And Boom's dad's on his own, so we thought it would be a good idea to come home. And for me personally, I just really wanted to fight. I hadn't fought in 5 years, and I couldn't get going in North America, so it was a big reason why we came home to Thailand.
So since you've been back, and with not only a long layoff, but having a child in the time that you had a layoff, how has it changed from when you first came here to getting back into training now? Is it just like getting back on the bike, or are a lot of things different?
A lot of things are different, for sure. I would like to say that I'm back on the bike now, but we came at the end of January. So I've had a few months of pretty much training every day. I would take a break here and there and a few days off here and there, but overall, I'd say 90%, 6 days a week training since we've been back. I had one fight win, one fight loss. The fight I lost, I couldn't get off. It was a bit frustrating for me. And I think everybody at the gym was pretty frustrated as well too, because training and what I did in the ring, I couldn't get going. And the girl I fought, very evasive. She's a gold medal fighter for Thailand, no average fighter whatsoever. I think they said she was a champion as well too. But it wasn't more so losing, it was just my performance. And it was a bit scary because it's never happened to me before. My first fight back, I won, but I wasn't where I wanted to be. And now I'm training for a bigger fight in China at the end of the month, and Muay Thai season's kind of starting to pick up again. So I'm a bit more focused again, ready to go with the rainy season and the military coup. Things have been a bit quiet here, so I had kind of a bit of a lull where I didn't know when I'd be getting a fight, but now I kind of feel things are picking up, and I feel now I'm back on the bike. But it's been February, March, April, May, June, July. It's been 6 months. It's been quite a long time for that feeling to come forward, and it's been a lot of training as well too. And it's hard training here because, you know, things happen. Sometimes we'll show up at the gym and the ring's gone because we rented it out, and you know, we'll have times when the kids are fighting like 3 times in a week and there's nobody here, and it's sometimes hard to stay motivated because it's not as structured, and I'm a very structured person, so it's just been, you know, how would you say, kind of a long time coming, but I feel really good now.
Do you feel that you started fighting in North America, and then you came to Thailand, and then when you went back to North America, you didn't really get
fight at all.
as much. So you've had actually a progression from the West into Thailand.
Yes.
Do you notice big differences in how fights either are performed or scored, or how you fight?
I mean, when I talk, I'm very, like, I'm in Isaan right now. Everything I do is in Isaan. Everything's right here. So I'm not necessarily talking about the whole of Thailand, but I feel in Isaan, you fight so much. You win, you lose, you win, you lose. And people are just okay with that. Yeah, they make fun of me about my last fight, and he lost some money on me, and he wants that back. But he wants that back, and he believes that I can win it back for him. So it's a lot of fun just being around this, and I think it's also very humbling to see kids win and to see them lose, and it's just important because I feel in North America there's just so many politics. Fights are set up differently. It's very hard to get fights. Because you have to work so hard to get a fight, people are very nervous. It's not part of the lifestyle, whereas here it's every day. This is our life, so it's much easier to be a part of. In North America, you're always working. You're working to get to the gym in traffic. You're trying to get fights. Fights are expensive to go see. This, that, everything. It's so difficult. But here, it's very easy to incorporate in your life.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference, I think, here. And because it's a part of everybody's life, again, it's just, you know, you have good days, you have bad days, and you see that. You see that all. Everybody's at the gym every day, so you see them have good days, you see them have bad days, and I think that's important as well too. Yeah.
Were there any complications or difficulties with when you and Boom first got together in Bangkok in your gym?
The owner of the gym actually set us up, so there wasn't any like, oh no, we're dating. It was pretty blatantly set up. I don't know how they knew I liked Boom. I was probably making googly eyes and didn't even realize it, because they kind of knew that I liked Boom before I did, and I guess he liked me, and they would always make us sit together in the rides to the fight, and they would like try to, like, Boom was painfully shy, and there'd be times when like he stayed in this like 1-room apartment with like 7 guys, and they would take everybody out of the apartment and bring me there to be with Boom, and then Boom would leave, and then I'd be there all by myself, and I didn't really speak any Thai at the time, and I was like, am I supposed to go home? What do I do? So the owner of the gym, he set us up. When we came to Isaan and I met Boom's family and I was accepted by them, I noticed this huge change in Boom, and he was like, okay, you know, it's okay now.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask the parents first. The owner of his gym in Bangkok, our gym in Bangkok, we always go back and see him, and every time we do, we always bring him a gift. And I think Boom and I have been married for 7 years now, and I think he's pretty proud of that fact.
Yeah,
that he brought us together.
Were there any difficulties when you went to Canada, having Boom go into that culture in the reverse way?
We spent a year at my parents' house. Boom didn't speak any English, and so we spent a year at home. It was a good idea financially. I put Boom in school to learn English, which was a really good idea, and Boom had a lot of fun doing that. And it built a lot of connections with him. So, you know, the whole time we were in Canada after living with my parents for a year, we'd always go back Christmas, summer holidays, we'd always try, and I think that really helped Boom, having those connections. He's very close with my mom. And Other than that, though, I think Boom did have a hard time. You know, he's I think you'd call him an introvert. He's a bit shy, and it's a lot to take on the North American culture, the North American lifestyle. You know, Boom has never really been a part of that. You know, in Bangkok, he was making absolutely no money. He had 2 pairs of underwear, and he would wash one before bed every night. But he was taken care of. He was fed. You know, if his clothes were ripped, the owner of the gym would buy him new stuff. You know, it was a very different life. And Boom grew up in a farming village without any electricity, running water. So coming into North America and also moving into the city, the kind of go lifestyle and just the lack of community, it was really hard for Boom to adjust, especially when we had our daughter. That was a bit weird for him. But once we had our daughter, even though it was difficult for him without a community, he kind of felt like his life was more complete in Canada, for sure, having her there. So, yeah.
And so moving back, has that been, definitely it's been an adjustment for your daughter. She's very young. But for the two of you coming back, how has that been?
Boom is hilarious. He has his Canadian citizenship now, and he often says these things like, "Oh my gosh, Thai people, I can't believe they're like this. They're always late. Thai people are always late." And he's kind of making these little jokes that a lot of foreigners make in Thailand too, about Thai people and their personalities, and Isaan people especially too. So he's kind of partaking in this Western discourse, and it's been pretty funny. But Boom's having a hard time adjusting. You know, he wants to. He came from Canada, a developed country. You know, and I believe Thailand has surpassed a developing country, and it is technically classified as a developed country. But you come to Isaan, and things are a lot different around here. You know, the lack of adherence to law and organization and the government, and the roads not being finished. The road to Boom's village, they did half of it this year, and they did a really bad job. So there's already holes in it within 3 or 4 months, and things like that. It's really hard for Boom to deal with because he's kind of seen how things should work. I use that term lightly, but coming back, it's been really difficult for Boom. For me, I'm so glad that I have the community at the gym here. I fit in really well here, and it's great. But I think in Thailand, no matter how long you live here, no matter how much rotten fish you eat, no matter how good your lao is, you're still a philanthropist. And that's always something that I have to kind of, on a daily basis, accept to be here. So we're still definitely transitioning, and we're kind of still looking at, you know, our life, our future. What are we going to do? Because it is a big decision to build a house somewhere and to settle down. We're both pretty young, and again, I came to focus on fighting. Boom wants to focus on fighting, and we've kind of given ourselves 3 years here, and then we're going to reevaluate the situation, and we really don't know what will happen next. But we're definitely both still adjusting.
Your academic work in school focused on this area. How does that affect how you look at it academically as someone who's living in it and someone who's cared a lot about being invested in how things actually work here?
It really opened my eyes to a lot of things, because a lot of people come to Isaan and they say, you know, these people are so lazy, they don't work, they farm rice once a year, and what else do they do? But when you start learning about the history of Isaan and how these people have been segregated and how they have been suppressed by the government systematically, you start to understand why they don't do anything. They're very scared. They're subsistence farmers. They live, they catch fish every day, they eat it, they do it again the next day. It's a difficult life, but it's an easy life in the sense that they're not scared. They're not worried. If they were to start a business and the business failed, then what? They don't really have the faith in the government or the police in a lot of ways, and because of that, they kind of live their own life independent of that. And I see kind of how that all plays out. At the same time, though, learning about things academically, I see also the need for change here, and that there's got to be someone that's going to come forward with it.
Still recording?
Yeah, it's going. Sorry, it turns off sometimes.
So with Isaan here, it's in a very difficult time right now. It's in a bit of a turning point, and there's a lot of things happening. There's globalization happening. There's the political crisis. There's the military takeover. There's the succession crisis. There's things happening here, and Isaan is at a very precarious time. There's less people home to farm rice. There's people going into massive amounts of debt. There's a lot of problems happening here, and definitely there's just such a need for help here. And it's not aid or anything like that. It's just there's a need for government. There's a need for sustainable farming is a big issue here. You know, the fertilizers, things like that. There's a need for better education, and it's hard to be here because I kind of feel like knowing all of this and not yet being able to do anything about it is a bit of a struggle for me. So it's a bit of a weight on my shoulders, my education in some ways, you know.
It's interesting how you bring up the kind of daily grind. Unfortunately, if you go on any like Farang internet forums of people who have been here for a long time, it's a bunch of like old Farang guys complaining about how ties are this way or that way, and they do say they're lazy, which drives me nuts because I see like the fruit vendors on my street. They're up before I'm running at 6, and they're still open when I'm, coming home late at night. They work so hard. And then there's also this kind of like stratified class system in Thailand that's much more exacerbated than it is in the West. Well, in the parts of the West that we're familiar with, which is that you're talking about people catching fish every day. And so there is, in a very real way, this kind of instant gratification that's the way of life here. So when you have people from Bangkok even who are starting to be this rising middle class, and they're like, oh, these people in Isaan, they don't plan for anything. It's like, well, what do you plan for? Like, you have to do the same thing every day. So
yeah, and I think that's a really good point, this culture of instant gratification. One of the issues we deal with at our gym right now is finding like a long-term pad holder. You know, we have trainers here, but we want a long-term pad holder. And they really work off this system of instant gratification. They hold pads, they want money. And the difficulty with that being is they end up showing up when they want to or when they need money. And that's a struggle here, and that's a problem in Isaan, you know? So Isaan is kind of at this point where you have people farming to live. And then you have people like Pidip that are trying to better the community, and the culture kind of clashes in some ways. You know, you have modernization clashing with the old generation a little bit, and that's definitely an issue here for sure. You've got people trying to open up businesses, but then you have so few people that work up here. Where does the money come to support these businesses?
So in the 3 years that you have planned, committed to be here, what are your goals, both personally as a fighter and just what you want to be doing in that time?
I want to promote my own show, and me and Pete have been talking about that a lot lately. So I want to be on the poster, and I'm going to promote my own show. And obviously, I'll need his help, and I'll need everybody's help around here to do that. But I'm going to promote my own show, and I want to promote it in Booms Village. So I'm going to talk to the head monk at the temple there. That's a big thing I want to do. I want to do it for experience. I want to do it because I believe that I can, and I also really, really want to fight for an Isaan title, and that's something Pete's talked to me about, and it's something that the gym is pushing me towards as well. So it's a big undertaking though here, because when you fight for an Isaan title, they'd probably put anywhere from 50 to 100,000 baht on me. And I think being a foreigner, maybe it's in my own head, but I feel more pressure because there is this kind of generalization. People think that I have money. And if I lose the money, gamblers, I don't know what they think. I don't know if they think it's any different. I know the people here, they will accept me win or lose, but it's a lot of pressure. It's more than just the fight, because at our gym, that kind of money is unbelievably huge. These kids, I've never seen anyone fight for more than 10,000 baht side bet so far. Not that we don't have bigger ones, but most of the smaller shows, it's nothing like that. But it would be probably a minimum of 50,000 baht. So it's a big pressure for sure. And I want belt, but you have this kind of burden. Not burden, but it's just the way it is.
There's a lot of weight with it for sure.
There's a lot of weight.
All right, well, we will call this installment 1. I'm sure I'll talk to you again.
Yes, you'll be back.
Thank you, Francis. That was very good.
Thank you.